The following program is sponsored by Providence Mental Health.
I am back at Providence Mental Health, and it's my privilege to spend some time with you this morning, Lacey.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
You're a clinician here at the practice, and I want to talk about a fairly common term that I think very few people understand what it means. And the term is executive functioning. What is it, and what does it mean?
So many clinicians use the term executive functioning to really describe multiple types of functioning that the brain can control, such as memory, self-regulation, ability to process. So what I mean by ability to process, for instance, is having a client be able to learn cause and effect, be able to understand what that means, and also evaluate your behavior to see if it's going to get you the outcomes and results you want. And then if it's not, going to be able to change your behaviors, and all of that encompasses executive functioning.
Okay, so in a perfect world, how would executive functioning develop in an adolescent?
Yes, in a perfect world, when we are developing executive functioning, it means that we are getting all of our needs met. And that's how our executive functioning can really flourish and thrive. And when I say needs, I'm not just talking about our basic needs such as food, water, shelter, nourishment. I'm also talking about our emotional needs. And I think that's something that we often forget. We have a whole host of emotional needs that we need to have access to, such as the ability to be unconditionally cared for and loved, the ability to be understood and heard, and also the ability to communicate what our needs are and actually see our needs be met in real time.
Interesting.
Yes.
All right, so a big part then of the development of executive functioning is the job of the parent. Am I getting that right?
I think it can be, but I would also say that's for whatever adult is in a child's life. The great thing about the newest research has suggested that if there's just one positive adult in a child's life that's giving those needs and meeting those needs, that's going to support children.
Sure.
And it's going to really bump up the resiliency and the ability to persevere, which studies have also shown really helps children and adolescents be successful and grow into healthy adults.
Okay. This is probably a loaded question. We probably don't have enough time to delve into it, but what would be the result of an adolescent who is just not developing, not receiving the kind of connection and help in that way? Would it affect, for instance, coping skills and emotional issues? Absolutely.
So when children are not given that opportunity, such as, for instance, in trauma, studies have really demonstrated that you can be impaired in your ability to find coping skills, to learn that cause and effect, to be able to look at your behaviors and go, that might be a consequence down the road if I do this one behavior. And so children who don't have those needs, who might have not been able to have those needs because of trauma, for instance, they're really going to be impacted in that ability to develop those things. Okay. Now there's hope. There is the ability through therapy and through fostering those relationships that children and adults can make up for that lost time.
You read my mind there, because I wondered, I thought, if it's in a perfect world, if this is to happen during adolescence, but it doesn't, can we grow later in life?
Absolutely. Well, I'm not a neuroscientist. What I do know about the brain and what I have learned is that it's a really lovely organ where we can actually, based on neuroplasticity, really be able to develop new connections in our brain that are going to help us improve our executive functioning. And honestly, therapy has really been shown to work for that reason, is because you are working with a therapist who's been trained to give you that unconditional positive regard that's going to support you in making those connections.
Thank you so much for what you do at Providence.
Oh, I'm happy to. It's been an honor.
We'll be right back.
This program was sponsored by Providence Mental Health.